So it's hard for me to understand how can Shakur Stevenson offer Frank Martin any amount of money when Shakur Stevenson is signed to a promoter. He's signed to him. And we know that the language in the contract have the promoters dictating the pace and uh, basically paying X amount of dollars, the minimum and maximum, for these guys to get paid. But at the same time, the fighters themselves, they're not really, allowed to dictate any real terms on their own behalf when they're signed to a promoter. So how can Shakur Stevenson offer Frank Martin anything? That's the question, that I was basically having. Like, fighters think they can just talk to each other and get deals done. Well, you have to talk to each other, and it's good to get deals done, but to what detriment? Because what's the point of having good management that's going to take a minimum of 10% to a maximum of 33 and a third of your purse when you don't use them or use her as a manager? I'm going to need um, somebody to jump on the chat. Let's talk about this. The link still should be in the panel. I mean, in the panel. The link should still be on the top of the chat. It's pinned there. Trying to check and make sure. Let's see. Okay, maybe it's not there. Cool. Sanction boss, I see you in the chat. Salute. Because at the end of the day, when both fighters have a conversation, they still have to include the other protocols and parties involved to push the buttons to happen. For example, Shakur Stevenson and Frank Martin, they can talk on the DM or talk on the phone, but they still have to go through the promoter Bob Arum. They still got to go through the manager. They still got to go through any representation that they may have themselves, like a manager, such as I think Jay Prince manages for Stevenson, if I'm not mistaken. Rachel Donaire and Nonito, salute.
Hey,
Welcome to
what's
the
up?
channel. Hey,
I have like 10 minutes and then I gotta go back. I gotta get back to my laptop and work on some stuff. But, um, yeah, no, I agree with you that it's good for fighters to talk to see if there's actually an interest, first of all, right? Because nobody wants to waste their time if they're not interested in fighting each other, right? But like you were talking about, like how do you negotiate something if you don't have money in your pocket? How does that even work? Like, hey, I'm going to offer you 1 million. Cool. When are you going to write that check? You can't. Like, all these things are going back and forth. Like, oh, we offered him 1 million. How do you even know what the network's willing to pay for? First of all, not just you and that fighter, you and Frank Martin, but in addition to your promoters, right? What a lot of people don't understand is in a co-promote or a a purse bid, when the other promoter is on the top and the other promoter is just sitting on the sidelines just being named, the other promoter takes up to 30% of that purse. So there's all these different things that people are, it sounds nice, oh, we offered him 1 million, but he didn't take it. You don't have the authorization to even offer him 1 million. You don't know what's on the table, because at the end of the day, what if it was a slap in the face and ESPN turned around and said, yeah, we're willing to pay 1.5 million for that fight? You just offered Frank 1 million, so that leaves 500,000 for you, Shakur. He has absolutely no idea what is on the table because he's not privy to those conversations.
that's correct. And that's exactly what I was alluding to. Very good point again, Rachel, because Shakur Stevenson, he actually isn't a promoter. So he doesn't have the resources to say, hey, this is what we offer in Frank Martin. Because here's the thing, Rachel, you know this, and the audience will know this after today. It's a quick reminder. When I keep saying how Shakur Stevenson is locked into a contract with Bob Arum in Top Rank, it's very simple. He's receiving a guarantee. So how can he guarantee Frank Martin anything when he has to acquiesce to whatever guarantee his contract says that he's obligated to with Bob Arum? You see what I'm saying?
Well, I mean, unless he's willing to take it out of his purse. So
I'm
let's just say I know, I'm just saying because people like to argue like these weird things, right? We've seen every argument out of the book at this point. So if he was to say, okay, well, let's just pretend his minimum is 2 million. Okay, well, I'm going to give you a million. I'm going to give you 50% of my minimum guarantee. But that doesn't take into account who is Frank Martin's promoter.
yeah, I think is that a question, Rachel?
I mean, he fought last on PBC.
Yeah.
Is he
Uh,
signed to PBC?
yeah, he's with Al Heyman. He's signed directly to Errol Spence's promotional company, Man Down Promotions. But he's still fighting on the under the PBC banner, and of course under Showtime. So
Which would mean why would when Shakur says X about like when Shakur says, "Hey, Top Rank ESPN," they'd be more open to calling up their people, Spence and or PBC, and also Showtime, and say, "Hey, how much would if we wanted to host the fight and not go over to the Top Rank side? What would that look like? How much do you have to pay off anybody that, for example, if it was signed in a certain way with Frank Martin that he's supposed to be fighting on a PBC slash Showtime banner, for them to let him go and fight over there?"
right, right. I mean, I like Shakur Stevenson, and I'm not saying that he did not DM Frank Martin. I'm sure he has the evidence and proof of that. I'm not saying that he didn't even say he said about the $1 million and we offered him. But if you sign to a promoter under contract, you can't even tell your promoter how much you want to get paid when you locked in that contract. And I say you can tell the promoter that. But what I'm saying is you're gonna get the guarantee that's in that contract, whether it be the minimum and or the maximum. So how can Shakur then turn around after being locked into a contract with a promoter, tell Frank Martin, this is what your purse is going to be, especially if he's not willing to, like you said, Rachel, pull out half of that to pay Frank Martin. And not only that, but if Frank Martin says, because I'm fighting you, that's not enough money, Shakur Stevenson don't have the luxury to tell Frank Martin that's not enough and you ducking me when the shoe was on the other foot and Devin Haney and the Haneys put out 25%, he felt like they wasn't being fair to him. You see my point, Race?
Well, yeah, I mean that whole thing was a little it was a little silly anyway. I mean, yeah, it was. I mean, I've watched whatever Shakur's put out. There's no clear indication of what he's saying. 25% of what? 25% of the total. 25% of what the network was only giving as a minimum guarantee. 20 like, and then he comes back and says, "Oh, part of the three. It's not more than the three fights I just had collectively or individually." Like that's a whole different, like both are different stories to tell, right? But we're again not getting the full picture because at the end of the day, it was through Aram. Aram was the one that told Shakur. Now I'm not going to say Aram didn't didn't communicate the correct number that was given from Haney's camp, right? But again, if it goes into Haney's promotion and not Top Rank will shave off 20 to 30% because it's going on to a different promotion. So that'll
Yep.
cut what Shakur is supposed to make.
I was just going to bring that point up. Absolutely. Absolutely. So, of course, the best thing that Shakur should do is use representation. Like, I mean, 30% is, or if he goes over there and fight on Showtime, 30% is going to definitely go to Top Rank. Let's use the minimum 20%, 20 to 30% is going over there. Then you still got the 20, well, let me say the minimum of 10, maximum of over 30% is going to his management. So
Mm,
it's like, so it's like, how much money are we talking here, Shakur? When we talked about you losing almost 60% of a percentage that you're getting for this fight with Frank Martin, if you fight over there in Showtime,
correct. Like, and I do have an issue about fighters that don't have their own promotional company and say we offered him X, whatever that number is. If you're not the promotional company, it's not a collective. They're not reaching into your purse to pay the other fighter. So you didn't offer anything. Your name doesn't even have to be on the other person's contract. So how is it we offered him or I offered him? You didn't offer him anything because you don't have anything to offer monetarily wise. That's what I don't understand. When fighters say that you're not the CEO of Top Rank, you're not the decision maker at ESPN. So how did you offer? What were you offering?
right,
You offered 1 million from what? Your own bank account?
right. Maybe it's another hedge fund, Rachel.
Oh God, stupid headphones. Oh
I
my
had to
God.
put that right there. Sorry, the hedge fund. I mean, it's very simple. So the question becomes: did Frank Martin actually duck Shakur Stevenson? If all the things that me and Rachel are saying are factual, absolutely not.